So we're going to look today at how to solve multi-step word problems. Now that we are solving equations that take multiple steps, you're going to notice the word problems also may take multiple steps in order to solve. But as always, you want to look for keywords when you're reading word problems to know what operations to use. It's just really good to sort of just write things down as you see it, underline it, use all those strategies you've been taught over the years for how to identify things and keep things straight. And then you'll be able to set up an equation. And once it's an equation, it should be fairly straightforward to solve it. All right, so Green's Gym charges a yearly fee of $75 plus $12.50 per session for a personal trainer. A new fitness center charges a yearly fee of $100 plus $10 per session with a trainer. For how many sessions is the cost of the two plans the same? All right, so I can see that I have two things going on. I have Green's Gym, so I'm just going to abbreviate Green's Gym. They charge $75, okay, plus, that's a keyword, so a one-time fee of $75 plus for every session you go to, they charge $12.50. So I'm going to do $12.50 per session, so that would be times, let's say, X. Okay, so if I had 3 sessions, it would be times 3. If I had 10 sessions, it would be times 10. Okay, a new fitness center, so we're going to just say, we'll use NF for the new fitness center. They charge a yearly fee of $100, but they only charge the plus $10 per session. So again, you have this plus and you have per. These are your keywords here. So I'm adding 10 per session. So 10 times however many sessions there are. I'm going to use X for, again, because we're talking about when the sessions are the same, okay? So what number of sessions are these going to be the same? So same, another word for same is equal. So what we're trying to figure out is when are these two plans the same, or when are these two plans equal? Well, that's the equation you're going to set up to solve. So when is 75 plus 1250, and I'm going to go ahead and leave off the 0, I don't need it, equal to 100 plus 10x. Okay, well, this is just an equation that you've been solving. You're going to cut it in half at your equal sign, and then you've got a variable on both sides, so you need to move one of them. Since this one's bigger, I'm going to move the 10x by subtracting. I'm going to line up my decimal, go ahead and add a 0 there to keep it all straight. So on this side, I have 75, and then 12 minus 10 is going to be 2.5x. This is going to be equals 100, and this goes away. Okay, so now I have the x over here. I want to get it by itself, so I need to get rid of the 75. I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtracting 75. So these go away. I have 2.5x equal to 25. All right, and I need to continue to solve. This is multiplication, so the opposite would be to divide. So 25 divided by 2.5. So if I'm not sure how to do that, I'm going to do top in, bottom out. So the top number goes inside, the bottom number goes outside, and then I have fox and rabbit. So I can move this over once. Here I'm going to need to add a decimal so that I can move this over once as well. So now I'm dividing 25 into 250. It'll go 1 time and then 0 times. All right, so 25 will go into 250 10 times, so x is equal to 10. Okay, what that tells me is that when a person goes 10 to 10 sessions, then the price of these two fitness centers are the same. Okay? All right, look at number 2. It says 9 fewer than half a number n is 5 more than 4 times the number. Find the number. All right, so n is going to stand for the number. They've already told me that, so I don't have to figure that out. Here I could say x was the number of sessions. If it helps, you can write that down. Okay, so it says 9 fewer than. Okay, that's a keyword for subtraction. Half, okay, means I'm cutting the number in half or dividing it by 2. Is 5 more than is telling me I'm adding 4 times I'm multiplying. So I'm going to just start with the first part. 9 fewer than half a number. Okay, so half a number is the number divided by 2. So if I take the number n and divide it by 2, I'm going to write that as a fraction. Okay, 9 fewer than that. Okay, a lot of people want to write 9 minus, but that's not what that means. 9 fewer than is this minus 9. Okay, it's one of those tricky words where it switches the order. So it's 9 fewer than this. Okay, this is kind of a big word, is is another word for equals, is the same as 5 more than 4 times the number. All right, so if I do 4 times the number, that's 4 times n, 4n, and then 5 more than that would be plus 5. Okay, again, more than is one of those words that kind of switches the order. Because addition's commutative, it doesn't. You could write 5 plus 4n, but subtraction is not commutative. So it's just kind of good to get used to writing it correctly, I guess. All right, so now I have an n on both sides of my equations. I need to move one of these. This is like 1/2 n, okay? 1/2 of n. So I could also write this as 0.5n minus 9. Might be easier or simpler to think of it that way. Remember, half a number is the same thing as dividing it by 2, or 1/2 of the number. Of is another word for multiply, so 1/2 times n. If I change 1/2 to 0.5, that's where this is coming from. I need to get rid of one of these. This one's smaller, so I'm going to do the opposite and subtract it from this side. All right, so on this side, when I try to line up the decimal, I can't really do that. I'm going to need to make this 4.0n, and then I can subtract 0.5n. All right, so in these go away. I have the minus 9 still. 4.0n minus 0.5n is going to be 3.5n plus 5. All right, to finish solving this, oops, I cut it in half. I need to get rid of the 5, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtract 5. All right, so then this would be negative 14. These are both negative, so I add them, equal to 3.5 times n. Right, again, to get rid of 3.5, I'm going to have to divide. This is a top n, bottom out, so I'm going to do 14n. 3.5 is out. I'm going to do fox and rabbit, so I'm going to add a rabbit so I can move it over. Dividing 35 into 140 now, that would go 4 times. All right, so this ends up being 4 equal to n, and because this was a negative divided by a positive, it's actually a negative 4. All right, so the number is negative 4. Okay, look at number 3. The table shows ticket prices for the local and minor league baseball team for fan club members and non-members. Determine the number of tickets for which the cost is the same. All right, so I'm looking for when these are the same. So if I'm a club member, then the cost to go to a game would be the membership fee, which is $30. Okay, so this is a club, doing club. $30 plus the cost of the ticket. Well, I don't know how many tickets I'm going to buy, so I'm going to say 30 plus 3 times the number of tickets. I'm going to let n be the tickets. All right, and then if I'm a non-club member, my cost is going to be, there's no membership fee, so that's like 0. And then the cost of the ticket would be 6 times the number of tickets, so 6n. All right, I want to know when these are the same, so that's when these are equal to each other. All right, so if I set up my equation and then solve it, I need to get rid of one of my variables. I'm going to get rid of this one, so the opposite of adding is subtracting. These go away, so this is 30 on this side. 6 minus 3n is 3n. I cut it in half, do the opposite, which would be dividing. So n is equal to 10. Okay, so when you buy 10 tickets, the cost is the same. There's no advantage to being a member or non-member. Okay, on number 4, it says Lacey is 4 years younger than Madison. The sum of their ages is 12 more than twice Lacey's age. Let M represent Madison's age. Which of the following equations can be used to find Madison's age? Okay, so for a minute, I'm just going to ignore the choices they give me, and I'm just going to see if I can figure out what they're saying here. Okay, they tell me that M is Madison, so that's helpful. I'm going to let M be Madison. And I like to label everything when I'm writing an equation. It just kind of helps me keep everything straight. It says Lacey, so I'm going to write for Lacey. It says Lacey's 4 years younger than Madison. So if Madison is M, then 4 years younger than that would be M minus 4. All right, so if Madison is M and Lacey is M minus 4, then that may be helpful to know. Then later it says the sum of their ages. So I know sum means I'm adding their ages together. So if I add it, Madison's age, which is M, and I add it Lacey's age, which is M minus 4, then that is, okay, that's another word for equals, 12 more than twice Lacey's age. So more than is one of those that comes after, right? It kind of switches the order. So twice Lacey's age, that's a key word. These are all key words here. Twice Lacey's age would be 2 times Lacey's age. So that would be 2 times all of Lacey's age. So I need to put that in parentheses, 2 times n minus 4. And then 12 more than that means I'm going to add 12 to it. Okay, and then if I were solving this, I would have to distribute, but I don't have to solve it. I just have to figure out which equation matches this. All right, so if I take a look at the first one, I can see that m minus 4, they did not add this other m. They didn't add the ages together, so it's not going to be A. I have m plus 4, which is similar. A lot of this is similar. But they have m plus 4. I have m minus 4 because she's younger than Madison, so that's subtraction. So I know that one's not right. Okay, and then I have 2m minus 4. So that is 2m minus 4. And over here, I have the plus 12 part is right, but not 2 times m. It's 2 times m minus 4. So it can't be C either. And then the last one is m plus m minus 4. That's what I have here. 2 times m minus 4. That's what I have here, plus 12. So D matches what I have, so I'm going to go with D as my answer. And then the last one, it says, choose a word problem that matches the equation 2x plus 17 equals 3x minus 23. So A says Rachel spent 23 days less than Carl working at her summer job. This was 17 more than twice as many days as Carl spent. How many days did Carl spend working at his job? All right, so Rachel spent 23 days less than Carl. So let's let Carl will be x. So Rachel spent 23 days less than Carl, so that would be x minus 23. And then this was, so was is kind of like is, it's just past tense. So this equals 17 more than twice as many days as Carl. Well, I know Carl, we said Carl was x, so twice as many as Carl would be 2x. 17 more would be plus 17. So is that the same as this? It's close, but there's no 3 here. All right, it's because it doesn't really matter if the 2x plus 17 is first or last, because these are equal, so it just means they're the same. So it's not A. Madison spent $17 on a pair of shoes and then bought 2 t-shirts. This was 23 less than the cost of 3 t-shirts. How much does 1 t-shirt cost? So I'm going to let X be my t-shirt. So when it says she spent $17 on a pair of shoes and then 2 t-shirts, that means she spent $17 plus 2x, 2 t-shirts. This was, so again, was is another way to say is, so equals 23 less than the cost of 3 t-shirts. So 3 t-shirts would be 3x. 23 less than that is minus 23. So is this the same as this right here? So the only difference is I have 17 plus 2x and they have 2x plus 17 because addition is commutative, which means I can switch the order. This looks like it should be the same. So I'm going to think it's probably B, but I'm going to keep looking just to be sure. C said Carol spent $23 at the movies. She purchased 2 drinks and spent $17 on tickets. What was the cost of each drink if she met 3 friends at the theater? Okay, so she purchased 2 drinks, so I'm going to let X be a drink. So she bought 2 of those, 2x, and she spent 17 on 23. She spent $17 on tickets. She spent $23 at the movie. So I know she spent a total of $23. What's the cost of each drink? So what is X if she met 3 friends at the theater? So the 3 friends at the theater isn't really necessary. Like I could solve this without knowing she met 3 friends because it's not telling me she bought her friends anything. It's just saying she met them there. So is this the same as this? No. Okay, they don't have the 3x minus 23. So it's not C. And D says 2 times as many dogs increased by 17 is the number of cats. If there are 23 more cats and 3 times the number of dogs, how many dogs are there? So usually what they're asking for is the clue as to what your variable is. I'm going to let X be the dogs since that's what I want to find. 2 times as many dogs. So again, you have some keywords. 2 times the dogs, so 2 times X. Increased, okay, that's another keyword. So adding, increased by 17 is how many cats there are, okay? So, and then it tells me there are also 23 more cats than 3 times the number of dogs. Okay, so if there are 3 times the number of dogs, that would be 3x. And then 23 more than that would be plus 23. So these are both the number of cats, so that would be equal to each other. So is this 2x plus 17 the same thing as 3x as this equation right here? Well, part of it is, but not. I have minus, or the equation has minus and I have plus. So this is not quite right. So B is going to be my answer there. All right, so that's solving multi-step word problems. See you soon.